Alright, howdy y'all, I'm Ice Gold, and today I wanted to talk about something that means a lot to me. It was the whole reason for why I started uploading to this channel again, and it's just something I wanted to talk about. So, back on the 13th of last month, I posted a video saying that I would be making a return to PvP after 3 long years, because it was a totally different game. And, might as well give it a shot. Can't knock it till you try, right? So, now that I have actual motivation to get in and do that, I've noticed that the barrier to entry that the designers have tried so hard to get rid of has done nothing but go up since I left. And there's a number of factors that contribute to this. The first of which, and the whole reason why I'm on my storm today, is because of pets. I can't even get off the ground on this school. Like, there are specific pet bodies that you want nowadays. Like, for example, the Stormy Null Dragon, which gives the coveted Storm Elf pet cards that are so useful for utility. But, I don't know if I'm cursed or something, but every time I've tried to make one, I've got a friend up here who has given me countless lands. I think we're at 10 to 12 at this point, and I just have not been able to make a pet on this character. So I could really go on for ages about the pet system. And spoiler alert: if I ever do, the end result is going to be me calling for a talent reroll system, because that's long overdue. I think I was even calling for it back in 2020 when I was posting, so. Yep. I'm still working on pets for a few of these characters. I think I have them finished for Ice, Fire, Myth, and I think that's it. Uh, I think, yeah, my Death's pet is coming along nicely, but I need to ultra that, so. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So yeah, pet making is just a chore, and PvP pets are very different compared to PvE pets. Because as you can see, this is a raid pet, but I needed Pierce, I needed like an extra, I needed the reinforced talent for the raid, but you can switch this out for spellproof, and it's hard to hatch out a perfect PvP pet with Breaker, Mighty, Paingiver, Dealer, and Proof, from a pet that doesn't have any resist talents, or, in my case, didn't even manifest Paingiver. So pets in this game are just rough. Secondly, and this has been, I guess, in the news for the last few days because of the new boss, which is why I'm in Chrysalis, the General Lightbane boss. Because there's a lot of pack gear that you need to be able to be competitive at all in PvP. It's not as bad as it was like about a month ago, I want to say, where everyone was running 4-piece shad, and it was a mess from what I could see. But when it comes to the burrower gear, I got this from the boss, and then this from the boss. So I have the 2 shad pieces that I need, but I am missing the Skyfarer stuff. I'm missing the Skyfarer Fame and Skyfarer Ring. So that's really fun. And there's no free alternative to get those that is, not a pain in the ass to do. So, who knows? I might not even use the Skyfarer stuff on this character, but yeah, and the decks are also kind of a staple because you need one with Arch Mastery, but I'm just going to rock the Void deck and hope and pray. So there's that. And gambling, and especially in a game like this, just to be able to be competitive at all is very unhealthy for the meta. But hey, you know, game ago, right? But after that acquisition, is ramped up a ton, and it was just straight up pain for that month that the Burrower pack came out and before the 2 shed thing. So yeah, glad that's over, but it's not entirely gone because you do still need 2P shed to be competitive. So unlucky. The next thing that has been keeping me and many others from getting into PvP has been pins. These drop from different bosses. These power pins, they all drop from Maxine, I know, is one of the bosses that drops them, but it's basically just a whole other layer to Nova's farming, which is already arguably the most tedious farming that the game has seen since Catacombs. So, you know, it's no fun trying to get this, because you could be after something real specific, like an ice pin. And it would just take you forever to get, and you get a million balance pins before you even got one of these, so yeah, that's no fun. And then the shield pins are just the goofiest farm of all time. Having to do a boss with 3 lives plus the 2 mob fights before him was a very slow farm, but is what it is. But I really wish it could have been easier. Is all I'm saying. And then the sword pins, these, I still need a bunch of these. But the best place to get those is the Eon of Atavis boss. And, you know, if you know, you know, that boss takes like 20 minutes per run due to bad design. So that's really fun. But yeah, it's just pins in general. I think they're a cool addition, but the way they were rolled out was just horrific, and it's a pain to farm for them. And with how prevalent dual schooling has become for some schools, it's imperative that you get these pins. So yeah, it sucks, but it's yet another thing that you have to get in order to be competitive because of how the meta is these days. Another thing that is keeping me back is spell elements. This one's a no-brainer. Just the amount of spell elements that you need to farm is just horrendous. Like, you can see from my storm spells, like, I've gotten a bunch because of my balance, but I mean, it's just farming them. If you're trying to farm spell elements, especially these like these Arc 1 spell elements, you have to have a character that hasn't finished Arc 1 to be able to get them. So that's really stupid, and it's why, you know, like, because I had 6 maxes by the time that change happened, so you know, I was shit out of luck there. And then there's others that you can only get by doing Beast Moon, like Stormwing, for example. 110 damage between Tier 1 and Tier 5. But I hate Beast Moon. I will never do Beast Moon. So, you know, this is never going to happen. If I ever decide I want to use Stormwing, it'll probably be for the utility as opposed to the damage. So, yeah, that's real fun. The lore spells, I think, are just fine. They drop from gold key bosses, as opposed to just from the lore master now, which was pain back when that was the only way you could get spells, or lore spellments. But they made gold keys harder to get as well, which I also found just stupid. But you know, at least I can be a max and farm them, right? And then the Arc 4 shads have been fine as well, just because you get them consistently. So, but I mean, there's a lot of these with just utility that you have to have. Like Kraken, for example. This is the best overtime counter in the game. This is the card that makes, you know, those life wizards with Burrowing Bane and myths with Hero Chrysalis, and honestly just fire in general. Like, this makes that bearable because this is how you counter protected OTs, and a lot of schools have those. So if you don't have this, you know, you're losing. That's kind of the bottom line there. But not only do you need to know the spell, which already takes extra training points, but you need to get 75 spellments just to be able to get the path of the utility. So it's already just flat out unfortunate, but you know, gotta get it or you're screwed. That's just how it is. And then, especially in today's meta with how prevalent healing is, this, like, Triton and Skeletal Pirate are the only counters to regenerate, which is the stupidest spell in the meta right now. So yeah, and I mean, I could really go on at just at length about how stupid spellman farming is, but like, I would just be saying stuff you already know. Just level locking spell elements is horrible, and it should have never been done, but what can you do? There's also so much gear that you have to farm for on top of the gear that you have to pay for. And like I was saying earlier, the Burrower's gear just became farmable, so that's cool. But there's also stuff like the Meyer robes, which, I mean, I still don't have these for a couple schools, and as well as the Meyer amulets, which, you know, you have to do 50 runs of the dungeon just to be able to craft them. So that's super fun. But I mean, at least they're guaranteed after 50 runs, so not bad, I suppose. Even though, you know, 50 runs is tedious, even with the best possible strat, which I posted last week. So, but then there's also the gear pieces, like these Athames, these the fractal Eon sword, for example. You know, you get that from a Tavis, which sucks. And then, yeah, it's just, farming stuff is also a pain, and like all of the gear that I noticed this, all of the gear that Storm, for example, uses, I think 8 out of the 9 pieces are paid. Yeah, because, or can be paid for. Like the Burrower hat and boots, the Meyer robe. This is the exception. This is the 1 out of the 9. And even so, you know, none of these probably better, but I just don't have it. And then the Skyfarer, Athame, and Ring, the Meyer amulet, and then the Skyfarer deck as well. And then, just because, you can throw in mounts too. You need, like, a lot of people use the Clockwork Courser mount because it's 2 extra pierce, but it came from a retired bundle, so how about that? So yeah, I mean, it's just, it sucks out here. You used to be able to just, like, farm Dragoon, Malastare. Like, I probably still have my my old set that I used to use for Storm PvP, just laying around in my bank somewhere, but it was simple back then. You didn't even need, like, I mean, the Sinbad wands were pretty crazy for the time, but that was really the extent of it. The wands were the extent of the stuff you had to pay for, and now it's swamped, so that's fun. And since I'm me, you know, I can't go a whole video talking about PvP without bringing up Ratbeard's name, who for some reason is still at the company after all this time. And I'm talking about him today because PvP is getting just constant changes, and, you know, some people think that's a good thing. Like, there's a lot of broken things that need to be fixed, and constant changes can do that. But then there's also just other things like the bubble limit in decks. This was a while ago, but as you can see, this deck takes up to 6 storm spells, but it only takes up to 4 bubbles. And this applies, I don't think I have any other bubbles, but, you know, this applies to every school. You can only pack a max of 4 bubbles. And that was just in the game one day. Like, nothing else to it. It was just not there one day, and then it was there the next. So, you never know when some random update is just going to come and upend the meta. Just some random Wednesday patch that they seem to like doing. So, another one that comes to mind is the buff on the Eon stats, as well as the Merciless stats back when that happened. Didn't even happen in a major update. It was just there. And, like, sure, it might have helped PvE, but the Merciless buff was directly responsible for the stat meta that the game has been in ever since. So, you know, that's, if something as drastic as that can come up from just like a Wednesday morning patch, like, that's, it just makes me wonder if it's all worth it to come back to PvP and put in all this effort that I have. And I guess while we're on that note, the healing meta that we're in with spells like Regenerate, and, you know, even Storm's kind of guilty of it with Berry Surprise. People just spam protected heals, and, you know, like, Berry Surprise is a total of 4 pips, Regenerate's a total of 5, but the counters to these are worth 5 pips for Skeletal Pirate and then 6 pips for Triton. You can't just use, like, a ramp, like Energy Transfer, for example, to get rid of a heal over time. And it's just, it's brought back the Jade meta in a way that I didn't even think was possible. They got rid of burst healing, but they didn't touch Regenerate, and that's just where we're at right now. Every life wizard that you see in queue is spamming Regenerate, and why would I want to play in that? Right? Like, I'm putting in all this work to really come back, but if I get there and it's just, I can't even kill the other guy because they just out heal me, it's like, was it all worth it? And that general fear is what's keeping a lot of people from doing PvP. It's also driving a lot of people away. So heal meta, you know, it just needs to be toned down. The developers have said that they are looking into that, but I mean, who knows when that patch will come? So hopefully it's before most of my characters are PvP ready. So yeah, but we'll have to see, I suppose. Well, thank you all for watching my little rant today. Yeah, I'm still doing what I can. I've been farming that new boss a lot. And because I was doing that is because, or is why rather, I didn't have a video yesterday. So, you know, but chances are I put out a video on the strat for that boss relatively soon, so stay tuned for that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep at it. I'm gonna try and get new beef content for y'all, but bear with me while we wait. So thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. See you later, y'all.